when my videos started getting a little bit more popular, I started getting more people commenting under my videos. I remember there was one day where almost every single comment, the person had Clippy as their profile picture. And I saw it and I was like, are my videos getting botted? Like, I was like, what is this? This is weird. I was like, why does everybody have Clippy? And I was so confused. And I asked Justin, I was like, what is this? Are they botting my account? And he was like, no, there was some kind of meme. That's what he said, because he wasn't sure about what it was. And so now when I see it, I'm like, oh, okay, it's just some kind of meme thing. Now, today, literally today, this video popped up on my timeline. I went ahead and I watched it and it all makes sense now. I'm very interested in sharing this with you guys because I think this is a problem that is just going to continue to get worse unless we as the consumer stand up for our rights, stand up for what is right, and stop tolerating a lot of the BS that we've been conditioned to just accept. I want to make sure I make this caveat, like, this isn't the same thing. It's related, it's similar, but this isn't the same thing as when everyone had the black square for BLM. Whereas like with the black square, everyone just did that and that was it. It's bigger than that.
I was listening to the Facebook whistleblower hearings with Senator Josh Hawley a few months back. One of the elements that stuck out to me was when they were talking about how if an underage girl has deleted a selfie, Meta keeps track of this because they know that this person likely has low self-esteem at that moment that they've deleted a picture of themselves, which means that they may be more apt to purchase something from an advertiser of a cosmetic product. And I think about this within the context of what companies used to get in trouble for and what they do, or more importantly, don't get in trouble for today. I grew up in the 90s, a time when Microsoft had hell and fury fall down upon them because they bundled a web browser with their operating system. Whether you think this is a good idea or not, I personally think that a web browser being installed in every single person's computer that's standards non-compliant, that is so bad that you can literally get a virus from visiting a website, has its problems. But when you look at what it is that companies got in trouble for in the 90s, it just doesn't hit the same when you look at what companies get away with now. I remember having a Dell Dimension 233 back in the day, and if you wanted to get the one that had slightly better graphics, they would give you a free installation of Microsoft Office. And with Microsoft Office back in the day, it came with Clippy. Whether or not you like Clippy and whether or not you liked Microsoft Office or having an operating system that had the browser built into it that could easily get you a virus when you visited other websites that were trying to invade your privacy, the one thing that you could say, unlike Facebook, who is trying to profit off of young girls that feel suicidal, Clippy simply wanted to help. He might have been annoying, but he just wanted to help.
I remember Clippy, okay? I'm old enough to remember Clippy. You know, when I would first start typing essays for school, Clippy was annoying. I'm not even gonna lie. Clippy was so annoying. You be trying to type something and you just fly up. It's such a nostalgic moment thinking about that, thinking about like what computers used to be.
If you told Clippy that you were having a bad day, he wasn't going to use that information to try and figure out which advertiser to sell you to, nor was he trying to steal your personal data or get you to purchase other Microsoft products. He had no ulterior motives. He was simply there to help. Unlike many modern pieces of software, like what you get from Adobe or Intuit, where you can't buy QuickBooks anymore, you can't buy a video editor anymore, you have to pay a subscription fee for it. If I were to boot up that computer that has not been used for 28 years, and I wanted to start up Microsoft Word, I could do so without connecting to the internet. And Clippy would still be there, happy and enthusiastic as ever, simply wanting to help. Adobe is another example of this. This is a company that tried to twist people's arms into having AI and machine learning stuff go through their personal data. Not public data, not the speeches that I give, not my website or my blog posts or my videos, but my private data, the stuff that I'm editing. And there were people that were not able to get into their account until they agreed to this new end user license agreement.
Adobe is one of the most egregious ones with this. If you were using Adobe for anything, they could use it to train their AI systems and basically steal from you. And not only that, they charge you so much. They charge you an arm and a leg for this software. The role of government should be to protect against things like what Adobe tries to do to their consumer. You're paying them to steal from you. All these companies are in lockstep to screw us, the consumer. This subscription model is trash, okay? This own nothing, be happy bull is trash. And we've just gotten so complacent with it to the point where even if you buy a video game from a store, brick and mortar, you go to Target, you go to XYZ, you go to these places to buy these games, you still have to download something in order to play it. Now, what happens, and this is another part of it, what happens when they ban your account for some BS, some stupid stuff because you had the wrong thought? They ban your accounts and now you're not able to use the game no more. It's a sense of control that they seem to have over us that I'm very uncomfortable with. Even when we think about Visa and how Visa wants to swing their balls around to tell us what we can and cannot purchase. And what's crazy is they always do it under the guise of trying to protect somebody. But it's like, no, they're testing the waters. You give an inch, they're going to take a mile. Before you know it, it's not just going to be, oh, well, we're going to make sure we're not processing payments for things like Lolly, which I'm totally against that. 100% full stop. Ew. You give them an inch on that, they're going to take it to the next step. Even if we go back to the election, right? Kamala versus Trump. You're MAGA. Guess what? We're not processing your payments anymore. Oh, if you're Kamala, we're not processing your payments anymore. They're going to start telling you, hey, we're not going to do this unless you kowtow to what we believe, our moral standard. And it's not always going to be something where we can, in a general sense, agree that it's bad. Most normal, no, you have to be normal to understand this. Normal people do not support Lolly. Normal people don't support that shit. So yeah, I can understand that. But then once they start tapping into areas where there is nuance, where having a difference of opinion is perfectly fine and normal, and they start saying, well, now you can't purchase things because you have the wrong thoughts, that's going to be very dangerous. And the more we accept it in different areas of life, the worse it's going to get. It's just going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. I don't understand how we don't see where this is headed. How many people have gotten their Sony accounts or their Xbox accounts or all these different accounts, Apple accounts blocked because they said something publicly that these platforms don't agree with. Even just like DLC content, like just give me the whole game. Games are already so expensive that you want me to now pay an extra $25, $35 for more game. Like give me the whole game. King K, you said everything is subscription based. It's really annoying. Yeah. So you end up paying for things 100 times fold. Like, whereas if you were to buy a DVD back in the day, you could buy a DVD for like $15, maybe $20, and you'd have it for the rest of your life as long as you don't break the disc or scratch the disc. Now you're paying a lifetime to have access to these things. You've now paid for that multiple times, and it's like they nickel and dime us for everything. And it's like, you're a $1 billion company. Like, you have all the money. You have all the money. Why do we need to be so greedy? At a certain point, I feel like it has nothing to do with the money at that point. It has everything to do with, I just want to see how much power I can exert over people. Let's just see, you know, if I say jump, they're going to ask how high, even if what I'm asking is unreasonable. Jamal, you said microtransactions is what made me stop playing multiplayer games altogether. Exactly. Those microtransactions are so, I've fallen for it, okay? I've fallen for it. I have spent money on Fortnite. I don't know if they're getting a dime out of me now.
When they are looking for access to your data, they're doing so because they want to train an AI on how to do what you do without paying you, without your consent.
Exactly.
Clippy simply wanted to help. When Clippy would ask you if you wanted help with writing your letter, Clippy wouldn't even read the contents of your letter. He just wanted to offer suggestions. Game of Thrones had, I'm not going to spoiler alert, there's this Sons of the Harpy in season 5. They were these people that wore masks and they pushed back against the new regime. And the purpose of the mask was to let the leaders know that when you see people with this mask, we are against you and your new regime, and we are going to push back against it as often as we can. And the worry with the Sons of the Harpy mask is that it starts with one person putting the mask on. And then somebody else gains the balls to put the mask on. And then 20 or 40 or 100 of them put the mask on. And once 100 or 1,000 of them put the mask on, there's nothing that the leaders can do at that point. Enough people have put it on, and enough people have come together with solidarity. And they're going to do something about it. Now, granted, this may not be the best analogy because it was spoiler alert. They were trying to bring back slavery, and they also were just bad people. Khaleesi kind of became a shitbag at that point, too. But besides, I think that Clippy is like a modern day Sons of the Harpy mask. If you're tired of companies changing the terms of the sale after the sale and getting away with it, turn your profile photo to a Clippy.
When you have the opportunity to do something, to take a stand against these companies, whether it is writing to your representative or supporting different legislation that's going to keep these companies from doing these type of behaviors to us, whether it's opting out of services because the service is just, it's getting to the point where they're offering very little but asking for so much. It's not about, I need to just uproot my entire life. It's just when you can, where you can, take a stand. And also letting them know we see the problem, okay? The more people recognize that they're not alone in this situation, they recognize they're not the only one who is having these issues and sees that these issues exist, that then inspires other people to also not go along to get along. That's the whole point, is to let everybody else know we all see what's happening and we're not here for it. So that's why, look, I changed my profile picture. It's gonna be that until further notice, because I am sick of it every single time. And there's always a price hike along with it, where you sign up for one thing, they tell you it's gonna be this way, or they're even just vague about it. Like, I remember when I was planning on doing the Don't Add Us live stream and doing call-ins, I wanted to set up StreamYard. So I went to StreamYard and I was looking at it, and they're so backwards with how they do their website. They don't even really upfront tell you how much it's going to cost. Now what they do is they say, oh, well, for $4 and some change a week, if you pay that a week, but it's just like, once you add it up for how much it is a month, it's extremely expensive. But they use that week model, the week-long pay-as-you-go model, to confuse people so they don't know how much money they're actually paying. That adds up. And if we're constantly paying subscription for every single thing that we do, it's never ending. And it's even beyond just the subscription model. There are other issues that these companies are creating for us as consumers that truly does need to be addressed.
If you're tired of companies that have the ability to reach into your house and ransomware your products so that they stop working unless you pay them again, claiming that that's legal, but then when somebody tries to give you back access to what you bought and paid for, that's illegal, change your profile photo to a Clippy. If you're tired of sex bots invading the comment section on a regular basis, and their comments always posting with no problem, but your comments being censored even when you're not saying anything that bad, change your profile picture to a Clippy. If Google, being one of the premier data mining companies on earth, not being able to tell that little fucking cat with 2 pillows next to it that they try to make look like an ass so that thirsty young men click it as they normalize sex trafficking on the platform that doesn't allow you to express an opinion bothers you, change your profile picture to a Clippy. And let them know that you're not happy. Clippy never tried to normalize sex trafficking. He just wanted to help. If you're tired of companies saying out loud that the reason they want to keep you from fixing what you bought and paid for is that may take money away from them, change your profile photo to a Clippy.
This idea that you can't fix it yourself is bull. And the fact that they're trying to make it so that they can shut off, like if you try to fix your phone and they have like some kind of trip wire or trick thing where it sends a signal to the company and then they shut your phone down because you tried to fix it yourself. I have a huge problem with that. I grew up with my dad fixing literally everything in the house. I remember we had one of those big back TVs, you know, before TVs got super thin, and I'm doing thin to show, not bird hands. These is just to show how thin the TV was. You know, when we had those big back TVs, I remember my dad, it broke one day, and my dad sat there for a good few months trying to figure out what happened to the TV. He sat there for so long looking at it, looking up diagrams, you know, taking the TV apart, watching videos, all of that, manuals, everything. Until one day he figured out it was a resistor that was burned out, and he replaced it, and now the TV was working. I grew up with a father that fixed things, okay? He didn't always just go to somebody else to go fix it. He fixed things himself. And I like to fix things myself as well. So does Justin. The fact that these companies can sell you a product, and then when you try to fix it yourself, they disable it so that it can't work anymore is bullshit. If I buy something, it is mine. The fact that they want to put some weird mumbo jumbo language in the contracts that you sign, saying that if you do this, that, and the third, they could just turn it off, is insane to me. If it belongs to me, then I own it. I can do what I want with it. They install these tripwires or whatever the case. I'm not a techie like that, but the fact that they install those type of things so that they can turn your phone off because you try to fix your own property is insane. And then on top of that, they want to charge you an arm and a leg to fix it. So it's like, at that point, you might as well just buy a new phone or buy a new this or buy a new that. It is literally robbery. They are robbing us. Because I bought it, if I want to fix it myself, I should be allowed to do that. Now, with that being said, again, nuance, if there's like a warranty and you try to fix it and you end up breaking it even more, I understand them canceling the warranty for that, because it's like, now you've made the problem worse. I can understand that. But when it goes outside of that, you're not even trying to access a warranty. You just want to fix your phone. Now you have all these issues. You can pay somebody to fix it for way less. They don't want you to be able to do that. They want to force you to go and buy from them. That's the reason why Apple got in big trouble for their jacks. They wanted to have their own special power plug, so you had to always go and buy from Apple. You're trying to create monopolies. You're literally trying to create monopolies. And it goes back to that own nothing, be happy. Even though you paid the premium to have that device, you still don't technically own it, because you can't do whatever you want with it. You can't fix it. You're licensing it from us and we're allowing you to have it. But if you do what we don't want you to do, then we get to turn it off, even though you paid for it. They're not going to give you a refund, but they're going to turn it off and then just run off with your bag. I can't stand this, especially, like I said, coming from a family that fixes things. I think in another life, my dad would have owned his own repair shop for like all things electronics, cars, everything. You know, coming from a family, a line of fixers, I have a huge problem with that. I shouldn't have to pay an arm and a leg to have you fix it when I could fix it myself, or I could pay somebody a low, like that's how you create a monopoly, right? Like it's just they find other ways to create the same problem over and over and over again. And, you know, rather than dealing with this and trying to fix these problems, we have our public officials trying to fight for boys to be in girls' bathrooms, fighting for people that are not supposed to be here to be here. Like, I'm like, your time is being wasted. You should be spending your time trying to correct these type of problems. This should be where our attention is, because these companies have gotten too big for the britches. They don't know their place. And it's like, us as the consumer, we need to realize the power that we have. And that's why I'm perfectly fine with changing my picture to the Clippy, so that other people, if they see it, they know that there are more people on board with this conversation, that there are more people that recognize this as a problem and are willing to do what needs to be done to get this fixed. Now, I don't advocate for violence, right? I do believe in our right to bear arms. And if that becomes necessary in certain situations, then I'm okay with that, because that is our right to bear arms. We have that for a reason. With that being said, I think that there are civil ways that we can go about fixing this problem, but a lot of people are uncomfortable if they feel like they're going to be alone in it. They feel like they're going to be in an uphill battle. Nobody else is going to stand up alongside them. You know, that's why changing the picture, it's beyond just having the picture of the Clippy. In your everyday life, if there is an opportunity for you to fight against this, to promote companies being held accountable for lying to their customers and then stealing from them, then do that. You never know. You might not have anything where you could do something right now. If the opportunity presents itself in the future where you can do something, do it in a civil manner, because these companies should not be allowed to do this to us. We're literally paying their lifestyle. We are literally the reason why they have what they have. The fact that they're disrespecting us is ludicrous.
I never expected to win the legislative battle. It would be nice if I did, but it was never something that I set as I need to do this or I'm a failure. What I always hoped to do was win the cultural battle, where all of you understand what's going on and you decide that enough is enough. If I ever have a chance in my personal life to push back against this, I will. You're maybe not going to send that email that you're supposed to send to Interso to tell them, oh, by the way, make sure this chip doesn't end up on Mouser.com. Here's an NDA, blah, 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 the supplier agreement. Maybe you just forget to send that email. When there's a new consumer rights law that the senator that you work for is on the fence about supporting, and there's a lobbyist that's going to be against it that wants to have dinner. Whoops, maybe their invitation went to spam. I didn't see that. Sorry, boss. Maybe you quit before you create a fake paywall to test if your customers will pay again for what they already paid for. Or maybe when you send out that ransomware firmware update, you make it opt-in instead of opt-out. Whoopsie, if in some bizarro world it is actually illegal to make a thermostat work again, and this bastard of a CEO decides to try and get the individual in trouble, 10 cases to prosecute, only got time for 6. Maybe I just ignore this one. When a company CEO logs into their Slack and sees 10,000 Clippies looking back at them, what I hope occurs is that they intuitively understand that they no longer live in a world where they can get away with fucking over the consumer. That their employees, their partners are not going to be accomplices to this anymore. That they are alert and they are aware of what is going on, and they are going to politely but firmly push back against it. Every single one of those 10,000 people will be an obstacle to the anti-consumer practices and the anti-ownership practices, and it will no longer be another cog in the assembly line sending us all into a dystopia. There will be a moment where that one person who usually would not have a say in anything can be be activated. And in that moment, keep the world from sliding further into a dystopia or help push it forward in the opposite direction. But we all have to get together. And the first step is making it public that we know what's going on. That starts with a Clippy. On YouTube, if you're with me, I ask that you change your profile picture to a Clippy. At work, change your Slack profile picture to a Clippy. If you work at the White House, don't take down the United States flag, but somewhere on the grounds, put up a flag of a Clippy.
What he's saying here is straight up facts. Goes back to that clip from A Bug's Life that I always talk about. Let's just not go back. The ants have it. It's not, we got enough food. And literally Kevin Spacey's character says, okay, throws a seed at him. Does that hurt? No. Throws another seed. Does that hurt? No. Empties the clip on him. If they knew how much power they had, if they knew that they had the numbers on us, we wouldn't stand a chance. And that's what these companies are truly afraid of. They're afraid of the average person knowing their power in numbers. We outnumber this is top 1%. The rest of us, we outnumber them. We can't continue to go down this route. It's gotten out of hand. We shouldn't have allowed it to get this far. Let's be so for real.